Hi guys. I'm going to try to be a little louder. I'm going to do something different today. I'm not going to make a card. I had a friend that donated scads of designer series papers that she didn't want anymore. And I picked out all the Christmas ones that I liked, and I picked out all the Halloween ones I liked, and I just started making cards. And then I realized almost all of us have a stash of a lot of paper, and so maybe this would be something that would be helpful to all of you, just using really basically DSP papers. So, and they're not necessarily Stampin' Up, most of them aren't actually. So I really loved this one with the gold. So I added the sentiment with a gold bat and a gold punched deer. But I just used it just flat out in the card. And just added a little sentiment inside. This one was a 12 by 12 paper, and this was really big in one corner. It's too big for a card, but not if you cut it down. So I chose what I wanted on it and added a sentiment. All this was just from the paper. Then she also had a paper that has antlers on it, excuse me. And so I used that as a background. I also used it as a background on the inside. And here's another one. This was DSP. I don't know if you can see the difference in color, but it's kind of polka dot. And then she had one that was all stripes like this. I think I brought it up. It's this paper. So I used it, took a strip off of it and used it, and then used a red stamped deer that I had, and then just put some on the inside that kind of coordinates with the outside that way. This one I used just the way it is. I just thought it was beautiful, and just added a sentiment and a couple gems, and that was it. Added a strip in here, and then I thought it needed a little color, so I just added a narrow red strip also. This one was, this one was a 12 by 12 sheet also, and it had just the trees at the very bottom. So what I did was I cut it in 4-inch increments so that you got 3 cards out of it. And then just stamped a simple Santa and sleigh on it. You could add a sentiment if you wanted. Yep. And then I used the top half of that paper for the inside and just stamped right on it because it was so light. And this one, she had a sheet like this, so rather than use the paper, because it's a big print for a card, I decided I would cut out Santa's, and I have one, I left it downstairs, but one going the other way too, and I put it over here and just put the sentiment on this side. So I 3D'd the Santa and 3D'd the sentiment. And then on the inside I also used one of the top layers of that paper. So it all coordinates. These cards, by the way, are really fast to make. And you know how many we usually send out at Christmas. This could be very helpful. This is the same paper. This is the back side. This is the front side. And I just got a strip for the deer and used the wood grain on this side. And then again, I just punched out a deer and attached the antlers, added some red gems to bring out his red bow a little bit. And then on the inside I used some more of those antler paper and a deer and a sentiment. So those are the Christmas ones. Now I also wanted to say that I pulled out her Halloween papers and this is how this was just the paper, just the way it was. Again, it was a 12 by 12, and this was in one corner. And then I just stamped another spider inside. This was the paper that she had, and it had spiders on it and spider webs. And so I just added purple strip and stamped some spiders on it. Stamped the greeting, cut it out, and just added some ink. And then I used spiderweb doily on another card, and this is just part of one I had left over. This one was a, it had all kinds of, all shapes, not shapes, all sizes of ghosts on a big piece of paper. So I used my 1 1/4 inch circle punch and cut these out. And I can't remember what I used. I think I hand cut this one because I didn't have the right size. But anyway, if you have paper and you have something you want to use, just put your circle punch or whatever you're using in upside down and see which fits for what you're doing. So then this was part of the paper, and then this with bats and gravestones was part of her paper. I added a greeting, and on the inside I also added some of those ghosts that I just punched out. It was really fast. And I loved this striped paper she had. And I have an old die that's the window with the spider web. Hadn't used it for a long time, but I really wanted to show a lot of that pattern paper. So that's what I used on this one, and just die cut that window with the spider, and I used it with black glimmer paper, and then added some black glimmer spiders on the inside with a sentiment. Here's that paper again, and this time it's that doily. I used part of that doily right here, and that's all I did, the paper and the doily, and then part of the doily again with a sentiment. And then the last one, I had this is some of the Stampin' Up paper this year, but I love the ghosts, I love their expressions. So what I did was I cut some of the ghosts on the edge that we wouldn't normally use if you were going to cut ghosts, and I put it back on the edge here and the edge here. Just used a strip from that paper I like. Added one whole ghost, and then just added a greeting. And then on the inside I put the sentiment in just one of the houses from here, that paper too. So if you look at your papers, just bring them out and see what you come up with. It's kind of fun to almost come up with a card from nothing. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you some ideas, and I hope you have fun trying out some. Thank you.